Hi guys, it's Ryan here with Sigma Survival, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to use a knot called an alpine butterfly to keep a group of people safer, or even just yourself safer on mountainous terrain, so stay tuned. Okay guys, when I filmed this video I was in England. It was a beautiful sunny day. Now I'm in Portugal. We lost some of the footage, so I didn't want to go out and redo the video. So, you know, especially in the heat that it is at the moment here, it's like 40-degree heat. So I just figured that I would do the intro and outro from here. I'm going to be talking about an alpine butterfly knot in particular. I'm going to go into showing you how to do that and how to use it as kind of like an improvised means of keeping people just a bit safer on slippy terrain, or an area where, you know, if they fall it could be catastrophic, whereas if they're using this method they would definitely be a little bit safer. So, you know, the idea is that you've got something to, not to necessarily tie into, but to grab onto in a very secure way, not just grabbing the rope as it was, because, you know, that might not be so secure in terms of getting rope burn and just not having the grip strength to support yourself. So yeah, let's look at how we've done that. Okay guys, so these are called alpine butterfly knots. This one here is just a loop that's in the end. It's not an alpine butterfly, but all of these are alpine butterflies. So I've tied these loops in at a comfortable distance away from each other. If I fall, you know, preferably I'll have two hands on the rope. I may not though, if that's if I'm going off an edge, because I can hold on. And given that this is dynamic rope, you know, it's not going to do a lot of damage. It's going to stretch. But as I'm moving up the rope, I've always got one hand looped in and I'm gripping the rope here. Is it the most ideal situation for safety? Not really, but is it going to get someone who's not very good underfoot for whatever reason up the mountain safer? Absolutely. Another thing guys is, if you haven't got time to abseil, or you don't want to use an abseiling method, you just want a bit of a handhold, this is another way that you can descend the rock face a little bit safer than what you would if you didn't have this method. So just all these little handholds are great for someone who isn't familiar with rope work or abseiling, but just wants that security of holding on to something in the event that they fall. They're not going to fall straight off the cliff and die. Let's just put it that way. So you could come down a lot safer just by grabbing a loop at a time, and you can even make the loops further apart. Okay guys, so another method that's a little bit safer than this, I would say, is just to take some cordage that's strong enough. This is a prusik knot. Well, it's not a prusik knot, sorry, it's a prusik loop. I'm going to turn it into a prusik knot, which is something called a friction hitch. I spoke about this in one of my other videos on rappelling that was at this very point. Check that out if you can. We'll put the link in the at the end of the video. But basically what this is, it's a loop that's tied securely in place. And what I'm essentially going to use this for now is for the same sort of purpose as what these loops are for. So if I take a section of the rope that hasn't got this in, and then I'll just wrap the prusik in place, and it bites down on itself. So this knot now will bite down, and just like the handholds, I can hold on like so. However, if we want to do this safer, I'll take preferably a locking carabiner and a rigger's belt or a Swiss seat, clip in. If all I've got is a non-locking carabiner, like a wire gate like this one, then that's, you know, it's better than nothing, and I would still hold on to the rope. But generally speaking, now I can move up the rope, lock it off, and then I'm secured in, like you can see. So if I fall, the rope's going to catch me, the prusik knot here will catch me, and the carabiner with the rigger's belt will. If my hand is just looped through, then hopefully I've got good grip strength. And, you know, it probably would injure your wrist, but, you know, it's better than breaking your neck or your back or your leg falling off a cliff. So just food for thought, really. Anyway, let's look at how it works. So if you don't have climbing utility cord, and bear in mind that it has to be the right sort of thickness for this rope as well. 550 paracord, when it's tied in the correct way, I would put a few more knots in it than this, no doubt. This is just the bracelet that I wear on my wrist. When it's secured in place and the knots are tight, let me just take a piece of this. I'm just going to take the cordage here and just feed the rope, the knot through a few times. Then pull on the knot, dress it slightly. This will bite down on this rope. As you can see, it's not moving, but I can freely move it once the tension's off the rope. So if I was to secure myself into place with this, is it the best method in the world? No, it's not. But, oh, little bird in the trees. Sorry guys. But if I'm trying to get out of a bad situation and all I've got is paracord and climbing rope, I'm going to use it. It's rated to 550 pounds of weight, you know, for this strand alone. As long as I tie this knot correctly, which I'm going to show you how to do for a prusik knot as well, you're good to go, guys. But if you don't have this is climbing utility cord, okay? So you've got to get the right diameter of thickness that correlates well with the rope. If it's too thick, it'll just slide all over the place and it won't give you enough friction. If you don't have climbing utility cord, but you've got 550 paracord, or even like the thicker stuff, which is stronger, to like 720 or whatever it is, pounds, breaking strain, this stuff will hold you. And if you tie it correctly, this isn't tied correctly, by the way, this is just my bracelet, but I would undo this, retie it, and then I'll come up to the rope. So you just tie it in, guys, and you can go up and down the rope and it gives you enough friction to hold you in place. Paracord will bite down on that rope really, really hard. And if you've got tension on the rope, i.e. your body weight is hanging off of this, you won't move it until you pick yourself up and then you can slide it up. So this is why this is more just for moving along a ridge line or something like this, which is a bit dangerous and exposed. One thing to be aware of if you are descending down a ridge line like this and you're using the prusik knot is to take regular breaks, because the friction of running this cordage over this rope could burn into this cordage and compromise the integrity of it. So just leave it every few meters or so, just give it a few seconds to cool down a bit and then, you know, get back to it. As you can see, you can use this staggered alpine butterfly sort of hand loop ladder. If you want to make the loops longer, you can do that, and it can be used almost like a ladder to get up a tree or something. But for this sort of method of moving along a ridge line or mountainous terrain, you don't need to put these in if you've got some cordage that you can use as a prusik loop. So just food for thought on that one. So what did you think, guys? There was also a secondary method that I put in there as well, which was using a Prusik loop as a friction hitch. That is also a lot safer, especially if you've got something like a rigger's belt, or you can put an improvised harness on, or even just tying some rope around your waist. I mean, you know, if you've got to act fast and you don't have a lot of kit, you can utilize something like paracord to make a Prusik loop very easily. You know, the breaking strain of that is very strong, and it's much better to loop something around your hand like a Prusik loop, or to tie yourself in with a Prusik loop to the rope and to just work your way up that rope. You know, you're a lot safer, as well as with the Alpine butterfly, to have a loop that you can hold on to that wraps around your hand. If you fall, the chances that you're going to be able to hold on to that is a lot higher than if you was just holding the rope as it was. Additionally, you could use the method that I've shown to climb vertical structures like trees or urban environments. You could use it as an improvised sort of like loop ladder as it was. So yeah, you know, just a few extra methods there really in terms of rope skills that are quite useful for just about anybody that wants to enhance their survivability. A big thing for me in terms of surviving is like the technical skills that people oftentimes miss. Like, I see a lot of people talk about bushcraft, I see a lot of people talk about general survival sort of skills, like, you know, how to start a signal fire, how to set up a shelter for the night, you know, how to purify water. These are all very, very important skills, don't get me wrong, but in terms of disaster survival, I think that rope rigging skills and things like emergency medical care, self-defense skills, you know, radio or communication skills, CBRN skills, these are all things that are crucially important. And I've got a video about that, and I've got more videos coming up about my sort of methodology and philosophy surrounding all that, which I think will actually be very, very useful for a lot of people. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, guys. I think that rope rigging skills are very, very important for survival, not just in mountainous terrain, but, you know, maybe even if you're on a steep river embankment, or, you know, you're trying to climb a tree, or you're doing something at height, or you're in an urban environment or a disaster situation where there's been earthquakes and you have to descend an area to get to a safer zone. All of these things are, you know, without the necessary skill sets, you're not going to survive. So, you know, check out our other videos on, you know, rope rigging sort of skill sets and whatnot. I've got videos on how to abseil with a rope only, using different techniques like the Dolphin sits method and the South African rappel. I've got videos on how to use just a carabiner and an improvised harness and things like that. So yeah, these things are all useful skills that are additional to the basic survival skills that, you know, everyone should have anyway. So yeah, anyway guys, that was a bit of a just an explanation really on why I put rope rigging skills up and show you guys these things, and also why I rate them so highly. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. Please do like and subscribe. It really, really helps the channel to grow, and it keeps me motivated to keep doing what I'm doing really. Anyway, thanks for watching, and until next time.